For those who don't know, I got top 4 with Red Green Law at the first offline OP04 tournament in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was a very interesting tournament. So today we're going to be looking at my various matchups, how I feel about Law in the meta, and I'm going to be explaining my deck list, as it is a bit different from the Law list I posted last week, which I didn't even expect myself. Before we hop into these matchups and the deck list, I first want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Eminence. Eminence is the tournament software I used to run my first One Piece tournament, and the same software I will use to run many more. Eminence features a clean UI, event registration, and dedicated event management. They're constantly improving their website based on user suggestions, and I truly think this will be the upgrade from some of the other tournament sites. Sign up for $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. Back to the video. First things first, let's go ahead and look at my matchups here. If you guys aren't followed to me on Twitter, go ahead and follow me at cross_AII. But let's get into it. So as I said, this was the Knoxville Regional, first OP04 offline tournament. And I did get third place with Red Green Law, not only in Swiss, but I actually also ended up third place after Top Cut as well. But let's go ahead and look into the matchups. So the first matchup here I had was Crocodile. I actually played Crocodile literally immediately before the tournament. I barely lost, but it kind of taught me what I did wrong. Pretty much against Crocodile, as long as you're just aggressive from like the start of the game to the end of the game, you should more or less beat Crocodile. The only way Crocodile is going to beat you is if they are able to is if you have a slow start and they are able to stall you until they get to their 9 cost and 10 cost. Because I'm not going to lie, 10 cost Kaido plus leader effect is kind of just like it's Zodi against Law. What is Law supposed to do about that, bro? You just bounce everything. But next matchup we had was Gurple Doflamingo. As you can see, I played against two Gurple Doflamingos, and they both went pretty smooth for the most part. I think the second Gurple Doflamingo honestly bricked a bit, so they were kind of just bricked up the whole game, so that went by pretty smooth. The first Gurple Doflamingo did see a good amount of stuff, but I don't know. Once again, I think Law just beats Gurple Doflamingo. As long as you're aggressive from the start of the game and then you close out the game with Luffy, I genuinely don't see how you lose. I guess if your opponent has a Zodi, if they have they have Utah, Sugar, and 20 spider webs, maybe you lose, but I don't know, bro. Gurple Doflamingo has been smooth in my testing experience, and I did beat it twice in the tournament as well, so I guess we'll just keep on seeing. But next up, we had Katakuri. So I did play 3 Katakuri in a row. Personally, I think Katakuri is a good matchup for Law. I know some people on Reddit are bugging. Let me pull it up. It says, this person got downvoted 5 times. They said the best deck against Yellow is Law. Take all 4 of your damage early and then hide behind infinite blockers. They got 5 downvotes. Yo, I don't know, bro. And then this person's talking about how Law's Dude, I'm lost, bro. But anyways, I think Katakuri is 100% a good matchup for Law. That is how I feel about it. And I think my 3 wins here back-to-back here reflect that. And I also did get a win against Katakuri in Top Cut. Even this third Katakuri player here, this dude sat... if y'all saw me during this game, I was visibly mad, bro. this dude played... he went first. He played Sparrow turn 2. He hits Sparrow out of life. I cleared both his Perros because I can't let the Perro lose. I'm playing Law, bro. If I let them have too many attackers, that's how I lose, right? So I clear the Perros. Then the following turn he plays, so I clear both his Perros, right? I swing life, another Perro. That's the third Perro. Goes back to his turn. He swings 7 Perro. Then he plays another Perro, bro. That's 4 Perros, bro. How is that even possible? So I cleared all the Perros. He still has 20 cards in hand because Perro obviously refills itself. Then I go to attack life again. Then he hits Sanji. Then after the Sanji, he hits Brule. Then he plays 7 cost bomb and heals the life. Then when I swing again, he hits Beige. It just keeps on going, bro. I looked at his life. I looked at his trash at some point. It was all triggers. Bro, on everything. It was all triggers, bro. I looked, set it down. I had to pick it up and look again. It was all triggers, bro. How was that even possible, bro? But yeah, even this dude, he sacked me to an oblivion, and I still managed to get it. I still managed to get the game thanks to Luffy. Actually, after that game, I was so hyped. I tweeted this, bro. I was like, Luffy's the GOAT, bro. Hopefully this doesn't jinx my run, because this was after round 1, 2, 3. This was damn, that was round 5. That was kind of early into the tournament. I was like, hopefully I don't jinx my run, because this. Without Luffy, I deadass would have lost, bro. I would have had Hawkins and I still could have lost, bro. The sack was just too much, man. And then I lost to Law here. I lost to Fee, a very strong player. He also got top 4. I'm not gonna lie, Fee, you did draw a little crazy against me in the mirror. You did go second. You did open double Bonnie, Filmbrook, Starter Zoro. But to be honest, your list was better into the mirror anyways than mine. So I mean, I'm glad you got it. You deserve to get it. My list wasn't really tech from the mirror at all. I wasn't really expecting to play the mirror match because I didn't think there were going to be too many law players. Obviously, at least 3 law players made top cut. At least, actually, I think it was like at least 4 made top cut. And I don't think that's because there were too many law players. I just think that there were a lot of good law players. So I'm probably going to take that into consideration in the future. If I'm going to have to like play against a law on top cut or something, I'll probably add like a little bit more mirror tech, but we'll look for that in the future. Another Gerpel Doflamingo. As I said, this Gerpel Doflamingo kind of like bricked a bit, but we still did get there. Then lastly, we had these 2 Whitebeards. These Whitebeard games were close, man. Like, what I will say is that I definitely did overestimate how good I thought Law was into Whitebeard. Like, if everything goes right, like, I mean, I think Whitebeard is just a smooth matchup for Law, but that does kind of require everything going right? So I kind of want to add in, like, more ways to make my Whitebeard matchup consistent. Like, just even more, just make it more consistent. Because, like, I did get both of these games, but they were a little too close for comfort. Like, I feel like all of my Whitebeard games have felt a little too close for comfort, so I do definitely want to add in some text to, you know, hopefully help out with that. This was it for Swiss. Let's go ahead and look at my top cut. So it was a top 32 cut. I did end up getting top 4. Got my 4-0 Luffy, as you can see here. It was number 11, and I did actually end up at 3rd place. And look at my bracket here, bro. Yo, it's stacked. I'm playing against I played against Kevin, Chris Sock. What a win. Like, hold on, let's look at Limitless real quick. Look at this, bro. Dude, like, what? Kevin's above me right here. Will's now above me as well. Chris Sock is right here. Like, bro, my bracket was stacked, bro. But we still made it through, bro. Like, my bracket was stacked, but we still made it through, at least all the way up until top 4. Huge shout out to Will for clapping me up. Go ahead and follow him real quick. Will to Win Gaming on Twitter. You know, definitely check him out. But with that being said, in my top 32 match, I played against Katakuri. As I said, I think Katakuri is a positive matchup for Law. And unlike some of the Katakuri players I played in Swiss, he didn't really sack me like crazy or anything. So it was pretty smooth. Top 16, I played against Kevin. I'm not going to lie. Game 1, Kevin got smoked, bro. Like, yo, that game 1 was too smooth. But then game 2, I got clapped up. Game 3 was pretty even until the end of the game where I thought Kevin just had it, bro. Like, he had 9 beard. He, like, comboed 9 beard with ace, all of that. It was disgusting, bro. Like, I was getting rocked. And then I hit him with the Zodia, bro. I had a blocker law. I had a sending blocker law left on the board. I had like 4 cards in hand. Bro, I hit him with 1 drop, 2-cost Brook, attached down to blocker law, 2-cost Brook, attached down to blocker law, attached like 4 down to blocker law, swing 12, shambles, play resend law, swing 12. Like, it was insane, bro. I was left with like 1 card in my hand, which was the resend law, which I shambled Brook back with. And I swung 12 twice, and I did get it, so that was crazy. I definitely Zodia'd him that game. He was saying that there was another way where he could have played it where I wouldn't have been able to even get the Zodia off, but he didn't do it, so Zodia it is. And then going into top 8, I played against Chris Sock. Going into top 8, it really taught me that maybe I should be a little greedier with my mulligans, because round 1, it was bad, bro. Like, so I had most of the hand. I had like a bunch of searchers that started on me, so I was like, okay, if I see a Bonnie, blocker law, or resend law, I'm cooking. So I just kept the hand. Surely enough, I saw 0 green the entire game, so I will definitely be mulliganing that hand next time. Going into game 2, I think I was able to squeak it out, and then game 3 was pretty interesting. If anybody knows where the stream was or whatever, y'all can go ahead and check out that game on stream. But I just killed him early that game. Like, it was insane. I was going for after his ace turn, I was going for like a tempo swing to set up for a lethal on the following turn, and he just ended up losing that turn, bro. I was low-key kind of shocked. I was like, what? Like, I guess he had too much, like, since it was his ace turn, he only had, like, 1 down up. So I guess he had too many non-counters in hand, and then too many events he couldn't use due to only having 1 down up. So I did end up killing him early. Then top 4 against Will, I did get clapped up twice. Game 1, I'm pretty sure I lost. Game 2, I'm not going to lie. I'm like, dude, I'm going to be honest. I'm 90% sure I, like, could have won game 2. Like, I was just tired, bro. Like, I was on 2 hours of sleep the whole day. There was this whole tournament. There was like some, you know, some personal drama that was going on in Knoxville. Like, dude, I don't know, bro. Cause like, I was disappointed in myself, especially after game 2, bro. Cause Game 1 I lost because he did a 12K swing. I thought he could only do 11 max. He did 12K. I don't know how I miscounted that. It's just 10 plus 2. Like, how do you do 10 plus 2 equals 11? Like, I don't know. I don't know how I messed that up. And then looking at the second game here, I made the same mistake again. I thought his rush loop, he could only attack for, I thought it could only attack for 8, and it ended up attacking for 9. Like, so in both of these situations, I was at 1 life, and I chose to go down to 0 because I thought I had the defense. And I was like, okay, if he goes for it, he just insta-loses. And turns out I didn't have the defense. So what I should have done was just defended while I was at 1 life both times. Like game 1, I think I still lost regardless. Game 2, I'm gonna be honest, like at least 90% sure I had game 2, bro. I'm like, just to be honest. But you know, it is what it is. Like, it's definitely a lesson for next tournament. Sleep is a lot more important than I think it is, and definitely got to be careful of not getting burned out because I did play some games like the night before it as well, and I just looked absolutely dead that morning. If you saw me, y'all might have even seen the tweet where I fell asleep in the car or whatever while editing my deck. Like, I was tired, bro. I was tired. But with that being said, that's it for my matchups. I'm telling y'all, bro. Like, even at the end of this tweet, like, I'm feeling another at least 1 win this season. Like, I feel like this season is my season to shine. Assuming I can make it to tournaments. Like, I'm ready, bro. I'm locked in. I learned so much during this tournament. Honestly, I learned a lot from that game against Will, too. Like, it kind of taught me to think about more ways to play around stuff with Law. Like, now against Will's version of Whitebeard, I would consider, like, not swinging turn 2. That way I don't get Red Hawk and just let them have the Red Hawk for later. Just stuff like that. But with that being said, let's go ahead and look at my actual Law deck list. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the top 4 deck profiles. So, obviously, I have my leader here. I do want to say, as I always tell y'all, I'm like a base rarity demon, bro. So this ain't even mine. Shout out to Daniel. I'll return this to you at some point. But with that being said, let's get into the list. So first we got the standard here. We just got the 4 Nami, 4 Bonnie. Not much to say about that. 4 Chopper, 3 Beige. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about 3 Beige. If you're on my if you're on my Patreon and you looked at my list from last set or stuff like that, I generally only had 2 Beige, because I thought 2 Beige was enough. I decided to go up to 3 Beige this tournament just because Katakuri is so annoying. Like, if you don't see enough low-cost blockers against Katakuri, that's probably one of the best ways to, like, lose to Katakuri. So this is the reason why I went up to 3 Beige, just mainly for the Katakuri matchup. So I do think 3 is probably the correct number at the moment, unless you're able to see enough while you're on 2. Then I had 3 Starter Nami. I think 3 Starter Nami is still the GOAT. I was talking to somebody on Twitter at some point, because they got first place with Law and OP03, and they were saying, yo, they don't have 9-beard anymore, so you don't really need Starter Nami. You can just do other stuff. Granted, they had ACOS Kid, which is pretty strong against Whitebeard if fielded properly. But I do think Starter Nami is just too goated in the Whitebeard matchup, and it's just so strong in general. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, just being a 1-drop you can play on curve that gets value throughout the entire game is just so insane. And the value it gives is giving a free Daunt or something. Like, it makes even though I didn't run like Hawkins or Robin, like, it makes those cards free. It allows for a leader to always hit for 6 against Whitebeard, and it combos really well with Restand Law. Like, you can get to some insane numbers with Restand Law thanks to Starter Nami. So I don't know, just being a 1-drop, that has such a strong passive skill is just crazy. Like, I think Nikki was onto something. When I wasn't running this card before, like back in OP02 or whatever, Nikki was like, yo, this card is so broken, bro. Like, why is somebody playing this? I think he was onto something, bro. Like, this card is just so generically good, and I feel like I'm just going to keep it in the deck for the time being until I deem Makino to be better in the meta. But at the moment, I think Starter Nami is just better in the meta. Lastly, we have 4 Otama. Otama's just broken, right? It's just you always need this card at 4. Like, being able to reduce, like, an attacker against Strawbeard, or just making, like, a 7k, a 5k body to attack into, like, this card's just too cracked. 4 Dodon. I don't think there's much to be said about Dodon. I think there's some people who don't want to run this card. I think this card should always be a 4 of. I think being able to grab this Nami is too strong. Being able to grab Searcher Nami is too strong. Then being able to also grab Starter Nami, thanks to us running this as well, is very strong. And then being able to grab Otama and matches we need it is very good as well. It's just another searcher, and it has a lot of cracked search targets. Next up, we have 4 Sanji. So this is probably one that people are wondering about. The main reason I decided to run 4 Sanji was just because of it was mainly because of the Rebecca and Queen matchups. Sanji is one of the strongest cards against Rebecca. It allows us to get cards from our life while Rebecca's trying to starve us, which is very nice. It's also a 2-cost unit, which means that Rebecca struggles to remove it without like comboing it by like DP minusing, by not DP minusing, sorry, that's Digimon. By cost minusing it and stuff. Like they have to have like Olympus and Leo, or they have to use an event to clear this card. So being 2 drops very effective, and then being able to grab life is very effective against Rebecca as well, because it allows us to keep up an advantage engine while Rebecca is trying to essentially starve us out. So that's why I ran that. And then this card is obviously really strong against Queen. Being able to grab life is goated against Queen, because Queen tries to like stall decks out by send a bunch of stuff to their life, pop everything on board, and then start attacking with a bunch of big units. But Sanji denies that strategy by being able to get that life back for us. This card can also swing into Buggy against Zoro. I didn't play against any Zoro, but I did really like this last set. Because it's strike, it does mean that, you know, it can swing into Buggy, so that's very strong as well. I think I'm going to keep it at 4 for the time being. I didn't play any Rebecca or Queen, but I think it's worth having at 4 just in case of those matchups. But I think it is possible to reduce like a copy of this for another Brook if you wanted to. Next up, I have 3 Brook. 3 Brook was interesting. I originally only ran 10 2Ks, but right before the tournament, I was testing against Strawbeard, and I was getting kind of annoyed about like, I was getting kind of annoyed when I needed an extra 2K and Film Brook wasn't doing anything. So I decided to add in an extra 2K, and the 2K I decided on is obviously Brook. Brook is just one of the most goated 2Ks. It is slash, which means it can't swing into Buggy, but it's very good for just being able to get a free unit on the board for shambles while giving 2 Don to something. And it combos extremely, extremely well with Resend Law, just because like it makes Resend Law freer, right? Because normally you have to like, all right, imagine you have like 3 units on the board, right? 1 drop, and then you pay 2 Don and you play Resend Law. That means Resend Law basically costed 4 Don, right? But if you play like Brook, and then you shambles, Resend Law only costed 2 because Brook gave those, entered the board for free while still giving Don to something. That's the best way to describe it. So Brook is just really, really strong with Resend Law. 2 drop, which means it's strong against Rebecca. And it's just good in general for filling up the board while still giving Don to stuff to attack with. 3 Rush Zoro and 2 Starter Zoro. So I think Rush Zoro is the main card needed in the meta right now. I think this card is just strong against everything. It's strong against control decks, which is really important, right? It's really strong against like Rebecca or any black decks, and it's really strong against blue. And I think that alone makes it worth running more of it than Starter Zoro, like being able to be good into those bad matchups, or not bad matchups, but sketchier matchups like control and stuff is very, very nice. Starter Zoro is still strong as well. I think that Rush Zoro has to be run at more, just because, as I said, like the Rebecca matchup and the blue matchup, in order to stand a chance against those. But I think Starter Zoro is very strong as well, just against mainly Zoro, to be honest. Like, it's strong in general against, like, I guess Whitebeard and Zoro are the main matchups I like Starter Zoro for. Like, if you feel this against Whitebeard, just being able to have a 6K attacker is nice, because the thing against Whitebeard is you normally have your blocker law standing, and then you have like an attacker on the board, and you just attack, Resend Law, attack again is basically what you do, right? So having that attacker be 6K instead of 5K is a huge, huge difference as you use more and more Resend Laws. And then it's pretty strong against Zoro as well, being able to shambles this off of Law, attach it onto this, and then have 2 6K bodies. Make Zoro Fire Fisting our board weirder, because they have to like double Otama or double Gordon in order to get rid of both of our attackers. So I think it's very strong in both of those cases for sure. Next up, 4 Blocker Law. Yo, it's just Blocker Law, right? This is like the most broken card in the deck. If you don't see this card, that's probably the #1 way to lose with this deck. Being able to return 2 Searchers back to hand is just so strong. And being able to play like a Zoro or a 6K attacker like Starter Zoro for free is just so insane as well. This card's just the center of the deck, and it's just too strong. Next up, 4 Resend Law. I see some people not running 4 Resend Law, and I know I haven't talked to Nikki yet. I know Nikki didn't run 4 last set either, but I feel like 4 Resend Law is deadass like essential to the deck. Like, it's just too strong. I have considered running it at 3, but I always go back to 4. And the reason I go back to 4 is just being able to like just being able to hard draw into this or see this hard off of life is so insane, bro. Like, this card just extends so many plays for the turn. It's essential to destroying Whitebeard, and it's a very, very strong play against Purple Doflamingo and Blue Crocodile as well. If you are struggling into like some matchups you shouldn't be struggling into, and you're running less Resend Law, I genuinely think Resend Law will probably be the reason why. This card is just such a strong extender against literally anything. Like, this card is just so insane. It also won me that one game against Katakuri where I got sacked, as I explained in the matchups, because I comboed it with Rush Luffy. This is Rush Luffy here. Dude, this card's just wild, bro. I feel like 4 is necessary. You can maybe go down to 3, but the reason I run 4 is because I want to be able to draw into it without having to search it off Bonnie. Because the main card we want to search off of Bonnie is Law, and being able to naturally see this allows us to extend our plays. Lastly, for the units, I have 2 Rush Luffy. 2 Rush Luffy was pretty hot. Like, this card won me so many matchups. I actually made a tweet on Twitter where I was like, Luffy's the GOAT, and this was like round 7 or something, and I was saying, yo, I hope I don't jinx my run or whatever. Actually, no, I think it was like round 6, round 5. But Luffy really is that strong. Like, being unblockable is just so crazy in this meta. It's crazy against Rebecca. It's crazy against Purple Doflamingo. It's crazy against Crocodile. It's crazy against the Mirror. It's crazy against everything. I would definitely, no matter what you do, I would definitely run at least 1 Rush Luffy. But the reason I decided to run 2 is because I wanted to see it more consistently. And having a 6k attacker searchable off Nami is just too convenient. This card was really the MVP of the weekend, I think, and there's no way this card leaves my deck for the foreseeable future. And then lastly, we have Radical Beam and Guard Point. So Radical Beam is just a 4k counter event. I think Radical Beam is very strong because, 1, it's searchable off Nami. As you can see, Nami's search is very strong, right? I have 4 Chopper, 7 2Ks, and 2 defensive events to search from. That is absolutely insane. And on top of that, it's also able to grab attackers such as like Starter Zoro, Rush Zoro, and Luffy. So some people might be confused by like why I have so many Straw Hat 2Ks or the events. The thing is, back in OP02, we used to recur Dodon a lot because we had like 4 Makino, 4 Otama, and stuff like that. But the thing we want to do now is recur Nami a lot because we get to grab like 7 2Ks, 4 Choppers, 2 defensive events. So I'm really just making Nami search stronger, which is part of the reason I'm running these events. I kind of consider these events as like blockers out of hand. And once you start treating it like that, I think you really see the value in these events. The reason I run 1 guard point is because Radical Beam is obviously restricted to 1. Red Hawk is an option as well, but I feel like leaving up 2 Dawn is just too expensive for Red Hawk. So that is why I run the guard point instead. That's it for my top 4 red-green law deck. I feel like I explained most of the things. I think people's biggest concerns, once again, just in case you didn't know, is probably why I have 4 Sanji. As I said, Sanji's really strong against Queen, Rebecca, and it can attack into Buggy against Zoro, which is very strong. And then the reason for like Rush Zoro and Starter Zoro, which is probably the other thing people are confused about, is that Rush Zoro is really good against control decks and blue decks in general, which are popular in the meta right now. Starter Zoro is technically not as good in the meta, but it's still pretty strong against Zoro, and it's a pretty solid attacker against Whitebeard when called off of Blocker Law. So that's it for the list. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any additional questions. I was very excited to get top 4 at this tournament, and I'm telling y'all, bro, I have another one coming this set. 100. Like, I feel like I learned so much about the meta, and even more about how to build Law during this weekend. And yo, I'm telling y'all, bro, another one is coming by the end of the season, so stay tuned for that. And with that being said, I will catch you on the next one. Peace.